Hello YouTube and fellow Star Wars collectors. On this episode of Toys Are the Way, we'll be taking a look at a character from the second wave of vintage collection figures for 2025, Lieutenant Callahan from the Ahsoka series. Welcome back, gang. So here we have another addition to our vintage collection shelf displays, and this time it's from the Ahsoka series, Lieutenant Callahan, who completes our E-Wing. We have the vehicle, we have the astromech, and now we have the pilot. That is some premium world building there, and that's the kind of stuff that I love to see in the 375 scale. Definitely very excited to open this one up. But with all that being said and done, don't forget to smash a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, or even become a channel member, and let's take a closer look at the packaging and figure. Taking a look at our vintage style packaging, we have the Star Wars and Ahsoka logo nicely displayed up top, followed by Lieutenant Callahan on a bright yellow name pill color. We have a fantastic image of the character taken directly from the show, looking really good in her E-Wing, with the Kenner logo down below, tying everything together. And then we have this nice figure looking really good on a bubble. On the back, she is VC 351 in the line, Lieutenant Callahan, and we have a small description of the character, followed by the Vintage Collection logo and additional images of the card and figure. So once again, I'm happy to see another character being added to the Ahsoka series lineup, and I'm definitely very excited to open this up and add it to the E-Wing, and hopefully I'll get a nice carded sample later to have for my carded display. Taking a look at Lieutenant Callahan and focusing on the photoreal and portrait, they have done a pretty decent job here. And this is actually a character that we never saw without her helmet, so it's pretty interesting to see, what she looked like under there. We've got some nice braids and sculpting detail on the back of the figure there, and then overall, the paint applications look very clean. And then, of course, we have the soft plastic slip-on helmet, which we get with all of our pilots, which once you put that on, there you go. We have that character that we saw in the E-Wing. So that looks really good in my opinion. And also the helmet has lots of good little paint applications on it that are done very nice and clean. So great stuff here. Moving on to the articulation, Lieutenant Callahan has a lot of what I want to see on my 375 action figures. Now she does have the old style ball jointed hips, which require a little bit more effort to, rotate them around and get them into the right position. But regardless, still happy to see ball jointed hips. She does have swivels at the thigh, a hinge at the knee, and rocker ankles. So that is really great to see. And in fact, this figure is actually a big kit bash of our pre-existing X-Wing pilots. So this part right here is pre-existing. The arms are for the X-Wing pilot as well, and pretty much the only new tooling we're seeing here is these lower legs and boots with the rocker ankles. And then they have kind of redone this part right here. It's very similar to what we had with the X-Wing pilots, but they've kind of sculpted it to be a little bit different for this figure, because on the X-Wing pilots there's a peg here where their belt clips in, and we'll take a look at the X-Wing pilot in a moment, but they've kind of moved it on up because I guess this belt sits higher on these New Republic pilots. And then this upper torso piece here is also new. So pretty much just her torso and lower legs are new. Everything else is from the X-Wing pilots. You can see very similar stuff going on here. They've just painted the gloves to be brown, and yeah, so that's actually pretty good stuff going on here. It does make me a little frustrated because our X-Wing pilots don't have rocker ankles, but I'm still happy to see that kind of articulation on a new figure. But moving on to the rest of the figure, this is a lot of what you've seen before with X-Wing pilots. So she's got hinges at the shoulders, elbows, he's got hinges at the wrist, which is great. And then the torso has a little bit of a crunch to it. And of course, she gets a little bit of rotation on her head there. So pretty cool stuff. You can also see some nice detail here on her chest piece. And this actually clips in and out. So that's pretty cool. And then moving on to the back of the figure, not much going on here, but some nice sculpting and detail going on this upper piece. So pretty cool stuff. And I'm actually really happy with this figure. Taking a look at our new E-Wing pilot compared to the previous X-Wing pilot in the vintage collection, you can see a lot of the parts that they opted to reuse to get us this figure into the line, which is totally fine because the X-Wing pilot is actually a pretty good figure in my opinion. I think the only thing it could really use is some rocker ankles, but taking a look at these two, very similar stuff going on. So the arms, as you can see, exactly the same. Fortunately, Lieutenant Callahan in this release is getting the silver paint applications on those pieces right there. This is the figure from the 4-pack, and typically they don't really give us a lot of paint on some of those figures, but that's okay. Helps keep the cost down for that army building. And then taking a look at the legs, you can see some very noticeable similarities in the pants. So you got those cargo pockets on the front, which are pretty much exactly the same. And like I was saying, the crotch area is pretty much the same design, but they had to kind of redo it for the E-Wing pilot because, as you can see, that belt is supposed to sit a lot higher. So pretty much that entire torso is new. And then, of course, the lower legs are new on the E-Wing pilot because she's getting rocker ankles. So pretty cool stuff there. And then if we take a look at the back, you got some similar things going on in terms of the design, but of course, Lieutenant Callahan is going to be different than our X-Wing pilot. So I'm liking this kit bash. I'm liking that they're making the tooling library bigger so they're able to get us more figures and just, different types of characters, and yeah, smart reuse here in my opinion. And of course, we just have to see Lieutenant Callahan with the E-Wing and droid all put together. So this is great world building here, and of course the figure fits in there very nicely, so that is great. And basically you can just recreate that scene now from Ahsoka where, Sabina's about to slide her speeder bike underneath this E-Wing. So once again, great world building here. I really hope we get the other pilot and astromech for my spare E-Wing that I have, and yeah, really complete the scene. Also, it would be nice to get Sabine on that speeder. Once again, Hasbro continues to do an exceptional job when it comes to proper world building for the Ahsoka series. We have seen a solid lineup of main characters, army builders, droids, beasts, vehicles, and pilots, which have all been released in a relatively timely manner. This is the way. Lieutenant Callahan is a smart retool of the existing X-Wing pilot figure with some custom modifications that enhance the articulation to a nearly modern definitive level. The addition of new lower legs and rocker ankles really makes a difference when posing this figure in sprinting or action poses. While the old style hips allow for some great range of motion, it has to be said that the new barbell system that is seen on all of our 100% newly tooled figures has really spoiled collectors, as they are much easier to engage with and offer a much more fluid range of motion. Regardless, Lieutenant Callahan is able to pose quite well and makes for a solid addition to our new Republic fleet. I hope you've enjoyed this video and taking a look at this latest addition to our vintage collection shelf displays, Lieutenant Callahan from the Ahsoka series. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really helps and is always greatly appreciated. Thanks everyone, and may the Force be with you.